Hi, everybody. We should be live coming to everybody. It looks like we are. There's some people online, which is good. Thanks for joining this National Coherence session with the development team. Lucky enough to have some great people on tonight to take us through a few more clips. John Widdowson is going to be leading the session, so I'll let him start his introductions, if that's okay.
Thanks, Owen. Like Owen said, good evening, everyone. Great to have you with us this evening. My name's John Widdowson. I'm one of the match official development team. Tonight, I'm being supported by Claire Antcliffe. So, Claire, if you would just like to give a quick intro.
Hi, yeah, I'm part of the match official development team. Many years experience, many years in development, and very much looking forward to my second one of these.
Also supporting, and he's introduced himself already, but Owen Taylor. Owen, if you'd like to just give yourself a bit of intro, bit of a bio. Maybe not. Okay, and then finally, our guest joining us today is Harry Parsons. So, Harry, over to you.
Hi, I'm Harry. I'm a National League Match Official Team Associate, and I also referee at Regional 1 in the Southeast.
Thanks, Harry. Without further ado, we'll get into the presentation. As I've said, thanks for joining us. The idea of the coherence bit is that we're going to share some clips later on in the evening. It is a 30-minute session. We will tap into Harry's experience as a current practitioner, and there's an opportunity for you to vote and to have a go at using the desk principle this evening. So, Owen, if you could put the first slide up, please. Hopefully that's up now, Owen.
Yeah, just coming across now, mate.
Thank you. So the coherence exercise and the slide that you will shortly see is just a reminder for us all that the domestic law variation, or the DLV, that's come into place is based around foul play. Now, Law 9 is foul play. So again, if you just go on to the next slide, Owen, please. Some of you may have been on the Tackleite Hub and be familiar with this piece of information. The bits in red are the highlights that have been included into the domestic law and made it the domestic law variation. So they're the variables to Law 9, which is foul play. And I'm guessing, Harry, you've spent a little bit of time looking at this.
Yes, I have. A couple of conferences. We've talked about all of the new variations that have come in.
Okay, so again, as you can see, this there's a clear section 9.11b, which is clearly been added to include the ball carrier, whereas before our focus potentially has always been on the tackler. So to support this addition to Law 9, the domestic law variation, there is a sanction framework. So again, this is readily available to everybody. Hopefully some of you may have seen it already. And there's a little reminder in the top left-hand side to remind us that the head contact process still applies. This hasn't taken over from the head contact process. As you can see from the framework, there are two strands to this framework, which are the tackler and the ball carrier. And again, key bit, again, remember Law 9 is around has foul play been committed. So it's clearly looking at that first bit around has foul play been committed. So tying into those definitions earlier on. I'll give you a few minutes to look at this. Harry, again, I'm guessing you've spent some time looking at this and becoming familiar with the framework?
Absolutely, yes.
How
And,
helpful is that framework to you?
well, I mean, the decision-making process that we follow on the day, both when we're making the decisions live, but also when we're, potentially communicating outcomes to the captains and the relevant players. We follow this framework quite closely. Sometimes you don't necessarily need to voice every stage of it, but there's a clear process that you follow when communicating it.
Thanks, Harry. And just before we move off this this graphic, there is a difference between the head contact process and the framework in terms of the head contact process mitigates down from red to work out whether it's a yellow. With this framework, we tend to start at penalty and look to go towards aggravation. So is there anything that takes it away from play on, moves it to a penalty, moves it to yellow card, or moves it to red card? I know for those that are well versed in English, aggravation is probably a better word than mitigation. And as the season rolls on and we're midway through the season, that's already part of a review process that will take place. So, Owen, if you could just move to the next slide for us, please. So before we get into the clips and probably what you've all joined for, just that opportunity to put yourself on the spot. This is a familiar process to match officials. If you aren't a match official, this will be something new to you, but I'm sure it's very familiar to yourself, Harry. Yes,
it is. We use this process and this principle at every stage of the game in most scenarios that we deal with.
And as you can see from that, it all starts with a description of what you've seen. So factor in it's your positioning on the field will play a part on that description, I'm assuming, Harry?
Yes, yeah, of course. We are only human. We can only act on what we've seen, and positioning is going to affect the pictures that you see.
Thank you. Do you want to just talk me through the next bit, that explanation and sanction bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're talking to the players and to the captains, there's quite often going to be questions, and so I think that's one of the good things about having a process and a framework like the desk principle is that it allows us to have a structure when we're communicating with them. So obviously, starting off by explaining what you've seen, because the captains and the players involved might have a different perception, and as I said, we can only act on what we've seen. So it's really important that we describe the pictures that we're seeing so that there's some clarity on their end from what we've seen. After that, you go into the explanation. So that could be following the framework, so that then you come to, following that framework, you come to potentially a sanction, which is the next point. And that's where you then outline to the players, the captains, what the outcome is going to be, because it's not always necessarily going to be a sanction. And then at the end, I think it's always worth confirming that they understand why and what is happening, because as I said at the beginning, there's quite often questions. So it's always good to confirm, and then that way you have an opportunity during the downtime to be able to clarify anything so that you can then move on with the game without having to come back to it.
Thanks, Harry. Great explanation. Thank you. So before we move into the clips tonight, just to explain and try and keep this at the forefront of your mind when you watch the clips, you'll be asked, what sanction would you give? Then you'll be asked around how would you describe that action? So what words would you use, things like that. And then the final bit would be, how confident would you be on giving that decision? So we're going to work on three elements of the desk principle. We're obviously not going to confirm. The way we're going to do this is via a poll and the chat box. You'll get 4 clips tonight, as it says. The clips will be real time on 2 occasions and then half speed on the last occasion. So you've got the luxury of being able to see it 3 times, whereas Harry's already smiling, knowing full well that on a Saturday afternoon he's only got that one chance at this. So tonight we've got 3 chances. Harry normally gets 1. I'm going to get Owen to put on the first clip in a minute. And all I would say before you get into the clip is, please enjoy it. Have a go at this. Again, I always say there is potentially people go, oh, there is right and wrong. But the right and wrong is what you see and how you describe it. Owen, if you could move the slide on and provide the first clip, that would be greatly appreciated. So before we put the poll up, I'll just give you a few seconds to gather your thoughts. Just on the poll, if you've gone to a big screen to be able to get the best picture, you may have to minimize your screen to actually see the poll. So in a minute, Owen's going to put the first poll up in terms of what sanction, if any, are you going to give. So if you could do that next, OT, please. If you don't see the sanction, you may have to reduce the poll, reduce your screen. So hopefully people are having a go at the poll. Owen, if you could just possibly let me know how we're doing in terms of percentage of decisions, if that'd be great.
Sorry, JW. For some reason, it really doesn't like my my screen tonight. So I've managed to find the unmute button, which is why I couldn't introduce myself earlier. So hello, everyone. We do have some results coming in, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for that. At this moment in time, we have about 55% of us are at a yellow card. We only have 3% play on, which I'm sure as John and Harry will allude to later, that's good news that kind of 97% of us are seeing this as foul play, which is great. And the vast majority of us are at yellow card, 28% at penalty, and then 15% at yellow card, at red card. Sorry, so the majority on yellow card for that one, John. And it's great to see quite a high level of confidence in people's decision making as well. Out of the 3s and 4s, obviously out of 4, that we have nearly 80% of people are more confident than not. Let's say.
Any clear language that people have indicated they'd use, OT, Owen?
A few bits in and around contact above the sternum, which is great. I'll be honest, when we ran our first one of these, a lot of people were just using the phrase high tackle. So actually the fact that we're starting to use that kind of new language is great, and is only going to help with players learning going forward, John.
Thanks a lot, Owen. Just before we review what the group that looked at this clip decided. Harry, any thoughts from yourself before the big reveal?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've spoken about the desk principle, so it seems very appropriate to go over that and use it in this situation. So, if I was to describe this, I would say that we've got a white ball carrier and a blue tackler, and we've got both players that are upright, and then we've got a tackle with force, and the initial point of contact is above the sternum. So that then leads us nicely into the next stage, which is explain, and we can then follow our domestic law variation framework. So, the first question is, is there contact above the sternum? In this case, yes. After that, which player initiated the tackle? So for me, from what I'm seeing here, it's the tackler, because the ball carrier is upright and so is the tackler, which also leads us into our next question: is this foul play? So my assessment of this would be to look at the body position of the tackler, and the tackler stood upright. So there's no attempt to get low and into a legal tackling position. So for me, we've got foul play. After that, we then consider the degree of danger. So, there's a couple of factors that we'd look at here. But for me, the first one is that there's a clear line of sight. So, the tackler has the opportunity to get low if he wanted to, but he remains upright. After that, we've got a clear wrap, and it's a dynamic tackle. So, the tackler's coming in at speed and with force.
Thanks, Harry. Sorry, mate. I'm conscious we've got 30 minutes, so I've cut you short. I do apologise, but that was great, because again, I think everything that you've started to mention there is identified by the group that actually looked at that, and they also decided that on that occasion the sanction would be a yellow card, and I'm sure you were going to come to the point that the player was always in control.
Yes.
So a great start. We've got 3 more clips to go. I'm conscious that this session is for 30 minutes. So without further ado, Owen, if you could put the next piece of footage on, and again, enjoy. Thanks, Owen. And again, same process. A poll will appear. And as the poll starts to populate, Owen, if you could just, again, just give us an indication of, where people are feeling this fits in the potential, what sanction they would give, potential language, and then also confidence around their decisions. That would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, the 3 polls have just gone out to everybody, so we should start to see a little bit of traction coming in soon.
Harry, while the polls are coming in, what's your initial thoughts looking at that clip?
Yeah, so I think so what we're looking at here is to do with 9.11b, which is to do with the change in height from the ball carrier. So my view on this is that we could apply the caveat of this is in the act of scoring a try, and in these scenarios, this late and low from the ball carrier doesn't apply. So for me, there's only one outcome that I would be looking to give live, and I'll hold off on that until the poll results come through.
Okay.
Go on, Harry. Yeah, so just while some of those results are coming in, 80% are aligned with Harry at play on. In fact, I've just refreshed it and it's actually taken us up to 81%. So look, 80% of people wanting to look to play on. hopefully people are seeing that active scoring potentially. And if anybody would like to put why they would be awarding a penalty in the chat box, Claire will pick that up and be able to let us know. In terms of confidence, again, it's fantastic to see that nearly 80% of people are scoring 3 or 4. I will just do one quick update.
So, Harry, I'm guessing that you would be going with the 80%.
Yes, I'd be looking to play on in this scenario.
Okay. Owen, if you just want to go to the next slide, which again will provide people with what the group thought when they look at it. And as you've all indicated, some of the key bits, it is outside of that meter. So again, the domestic law variation would apply because it's in open play. However, as you've all suggested, that looking at that, the person is in the act of attempting to or scoring a try, and the ball carrier is allowed to lower their body height in doing so, as they always have done. So thanks for that. That was really great. We're on to clip 3, and hopefully we will be on time as well. So again, enjoy. Thanks, Owen. And I know you'll be firing the polls out, Owen. So again, Harry, if you know, you share your initial thoughts around that while the poll is out there. Again, sit on your decision, and we'll see where people are going. But your initial thoughts.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got just like with the first one, we've got a ball carrier and a tackler both in upright body positions. I think for me, the difference between this clip and the first one is that this is a passive tackle, whereas the first one was definitely a dominant one. So that's a pretty big factor for me to consider in my decision-making process.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, Harry. How are we doing on the poll, Owen?
Stand by, John.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I have a little bit of a split. Again,
Yep.
There is a little bit of an outlier in that we have a very small percentage who would want to show that as a red card.
Right.
A vast majority are at penalty only, 72%, so nearly 3/4 of people. There are a couple of people at play on and a few people at yellow card.
Yep.
And I'm just having a little look at the confidence, which I actually may not have sent out. It won't let me gather poll results at the minute. I'll tell you what, we'll keep people excited and about the confidence. I'll try and work on that one.
That's fine, Owen. That's fine, Owen. And again, the clip, again, as I said, it's down to your view, your perspective. Harry, what would your decision be on that particular clip?
Yeah, I'd be looking to give a penalty only.
Okay. And again, that's I'm not quite sure what's happened there, Owen. I've got your initials, but I'm hoping that the next slide will come up very shortly, which again goes with what the majority have done in terms of, yes, there was foul play, contact above the sternum, initiated by the tackler, ball carrier, there was no latent low. As Harry suggested, it was a passive contact in terms of the tackler doesn't make a dominant tackle. Arms are wrapped and there's no shoulder charge. There is no mitigation, and the sanction by the group would have been a penalty only on that occasion. The slide is back. Oh, yes.
I'm back, John. I'm back.
Thank you. I've just talked through that. So looking at that, I'm glad I got it right.
I think if I can just ask Harry a follow-up question, really. I know there's a few coaches on the call who will be really sort of au fait with the principles of play, which is the continuum that you can see there. Harry, from your perspective, how do we think as match officials, can we help add to some of those in this situation, do we think?
I think, I was going to talk about contest possession. But I think that continuity links in quite importantly with consistency, which is part of what we're looking to get out of today's session. If we can be, as a group of referees, but also with coaches and players, we can be aligned in what we're looking for, then the players will have a clear understanding of what to do in the game, and then we can have continuity throughout the phases. Perfect.
And John, I know obviously you come from a coaching background as well. What would you, if you were the coach of the yellow player, what would you be hoping the referee does here, do you think?
Again, I would look for that potential of penalty, only a penalty advantage, and see where it goes, because we've got a bit of a momentum. We are looking to go forward. I would accept that if the match official decided to blow straight away, that would be a penalty to us, fine. But based on where we are on the pitch, the momentum we've currently got, I would hope we'd be able to see that keep going and keep that continuity and keep the pressure on the opposition a little bit, and maybe come out with a bit more than the option of a penalty and create our own opportunity.
Can I just come in? We've got a couple of questions in the chat and some good stuff going on in chat, actually. And just about clarification around the ball carrier leading with a shoulder or a forearm. A couple of people sort of saying seems that players are still running with their forearms braced, and maybe we could have a bit of a look at that.
Yeah, so from my perspective, Claire, we'd be looking that we can see in that still there is no lead with the forearm or the shoulder or the elbow from the ball carrier. We'd be looking for the leading arm to always be attached to the ball carrier, as opposed to literally going into the contact leading with that forearm. So I think that's a really nice example of a legal ball carrier who isn't leading with anything reckless or dangerously, isn't late or low, and actually the fault of that above the sternum contact can only lie in the blue and white striped player.
That's great.
Okay?
Yeah, thanks, Owen.
Thank you. Right, I'm going to try with 2 slides without getting kicked out, John.
Okay, hopefully we can get into the last clip. We may run slightly over, so if everybody on the call, I do apologise, but hopefully you're enjoying the clips. This is the last one. Enjoy this one. The poll will be heading out now. I am sure that Owen will be on that straight away. Harry, coming back to yourself, putting you on the spot a little bit now as well. Your thoughts looking at that?
Yeah, so I mean, here what I'm looking at are the actions of the blue ball carrier, and considering whether this is a late and low under the new DLVs. For me, I'd consider this to be a pick and drive. The ball carrier stays within 1 meter of that breakdown on the floor, and so because of that, the DLVs around the late and low don't apply to the ball carrier. So yeah, I'll hold off until the results of the poll for my outcome.
Thanks. I mean, that's great, Harry. I mean, again, just a thought. Whilst the DLV and that clear bit around the meter is around what is open play and what's phase play, even though they were inside the meter, law 9 would still apply if foul play takes place, I'm assuming.
Yes, sorry, I should have been clearer with that. This is only looking at the actions of the ball carrier.
Okay, so although we can't forget that foul play can still take place within that that part of the field. Yeah, okay. How are we doing on the poll, Owen?
Almost complete coherence, which is the sort of golden goose of this session, I suppose. 94% of people are looking to play on in this instance. If I refresh, we have just dropped down to 88% because somebody else went with a penalty. But
okay,
we will go on to the next slide for a little bit of clarification. And again, I think what's really, really encouraging in the last couple of weeks is that we're starting to see these levels of confidence rocket up. 96% confident in either 4 out of 4 or 3 out of 4, which, like I say, that's where we're aiming to get to. So fantastic stuff from everyone, and I'll just load the next slide up.
Thank you, Owen. Which I think will support the conversation with Harry, and also the decision that everyone's made on the call, which is great. I'm conscious of the time, Owen, so I'm just going to quickly jump on to the final slide. Just as a reminder to people, this information is available. You can use the QR code that's on screen. You can check with englandrugby.com, check the Tackleite Hub. We've got the information on our Keep Your Boots On page. And again, if anybody is out there looking for an intro to refereeing course, an England Rugby Refereeing Award, please use the course finder or get on the website to actually help you, support you finding that refereeing award course. Claire, over to you. Is there anything in the chat box before we look to start wrapping up for the evening?
It was still about the bracing of the arm. The couple have put in about they can put their forearm over the stomach. I've just sort of alluded to the law 911 around the reckless and dangerous leading with the elbow and forearm. So, but there are still a couple of questions on the bracing as opposed to the leading.
Yeah. I mean, again, it may be worth considering that bracing is you're tucking things in, putting everything close to you. Reckless could be defined by the fact that you've got a bit of a separation between the arm and the body, so there's daylight now instead of actually there's no daylight.
Yeah, great.
Just food for thought.
And it might be a good one potentially to highlight the whistle stop videos that we've produced. We have produced one on the ball carrier which talks about kind of what that bracing for contact looks like. So if anybody hasn't seen that resource, it might be worth having a quick look.
Thanks, Owen. Harry, we're just about to call it a night. Anything from yourself before we finish the Coherence session 3?
No, I just I hope this is beneficial for everyone. I know I'm still working my way through all of this, and I imagine everybody else is in the same boat. So thank you for coming. And as Owen said, I'm glad that we're starting to get some coherence across, everybody that's involved in this, and starting to see some alignment in what we're looking for and the outcomes we're coming to.
Thanks, Harry. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're a busy person. So thanks for joining us this evening. Really appreciate that. Claire, anything from yourself before we head off?
No, I was just typing in the chat. Thanks for everybody who's contributed, both in asking the questions and answering them. So it's great to see so much activity.
Thank you. Owen, anything from yourself?
Yeah, just look, I've said it a couple of times tonight, a massive well done to everybody that's come on these calls. We're trying to get that coherence, and to be honest, like Harry said, I'm a referee myself, and we're still trying to get the right outcomes as often and as accurately and credibly as we can. So yeah, great stuff coming on tonight. Just one from me around our next session. Obviously we've ran one every week for the last couple of weeks. We are going to have a week off next week, so we will see you in a fortnight.
Thanks, Owen. And again, final thanks from myself to everyone out there who's joined the call and who's also taken the time to hopefully access the information already, which has helped with your ability to be so confident around the decisions you made this evening. I wish you well. Have a great evening. Have a great season. And we will keep trying to support everybody across the game as we become more and more familiar with our domestic law variation. So farewell. We'll see you on the next coherence exercise in a few weeks if you join that. Other than that, have a great evening and a great weekend.